Am I on? All right. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. It is time for another Tech Talk. I'm Tony Pellegrino, and this is part of a live Tech Talk we do every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. So thanks for joining us. We're here to talk about your favorite subject and mine, Jeeps. So we got lots of stuff to talk to you about today. Hopefully you saw the Facebook event promoting this, and it was how to use your Sawzall. So we're going to get to that in a few minutes. We've actually got a couple people here in to help me with the show today. Alex and Jeff Perkins are in here, so I just saw Jamie cruising around. If you have a question, you'd like to ask a question, just type it in as a comment, and Jeff will see that, and he can read that off to me, and I can try and answer that for you. So be happy to do that. If it's a little bit off topic, no problem. We'll see if we can get to those a little later in the show. And if you don't have your notifications turned on, you should. Then anytime we go live or do anything, it'll help to let you know whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. We're always posting new videos and stuff. So we do, by the way, repost this Tech Talk over on YouTube within a couple of days of this show. So you can always catch up on past Tech Talks over on YouTube. Jeff, we got a few people on already?
We do. We have Jeffrey Rorda, Terry Runyon, our boy Kelly Sims.
Nice. Big Kel.
Yeah. Bob Haffey.
Big Bob, yeah.
Grandma, or Nana GenRight.
Nice.
Dave Ocha from Colorado, my buddy.
Awesome.
Steve Bird.
Nice.
Our buddy Zach Guptill. Bob Preston's on. Hey, Bob.
Cool.
And first question's from this girl named Marie Weber. Hey, how you been?
Been good, Mom. Thanks for asking. I've been a little run ragged. I haven't quite caught up on sleep after doing Easter Jeep and Jeep Beach back to back. So I'm still trying to get caught up on that, but we're getting there. We've been extremely busy here. We got a lot going on, and just trying to stay with it all. So, hey, one of the first things that I want to talk about, and we talked about this already, if you have a comment, or a question, just type it as a comment, is our inventory. We've been busting a nut here at GenRight and making all kinds of parts for everything from CJ all the way to JT. Great inventory, and Jeff can probably speak to this a little bit, but you can't even walk through the warehouse. I mean, if you're looking for Jeep parts, we can ship them right away. So
we have them.
Yeah, we have them. I know since I was at Jeep Beach, JK and JL half doors have been super popular. So I know we've been selling through some of those, but we still have more. And of course, always bumpers, fenders, rockers, cages. Like we're just going to town. So. By all means, do not hesitate to place your order online or call in and talk to one of the guys. They'd be happy to help you out. Okay. This has been one of our popular topics, the TJ to LJ conversion. As you know, we hacked our beloved Bowtie TJ in half and are stretching the rear of it to make the rear basically the same as our tracer for an LJ. When you do this, you can actually use an LJ harder soft top, an LJ cage, right? It converts it to a full LJ in that regard. So really cool and an inexpensive way to get yourself an LJ. And certainly if you already have a built TJ, this is a great way to preserve its value. So by doing this also, I want to mention, you can upgrade to our 26-gallon gas tank. That's pretty cool. So a lot of benefits to doing this. So that was what it looked like last week. This is what it looks like this week. Rockers are on, they're trimmed. You can see the shocks, the sway bar, the axle's in now. The drive shafts got ordered from JE Reel. Bump stops are in now. So it's gotten a lot of progress this week, which is great. We're hoping to have this over to the paint shop either the end of this week or early next week. You can see the entire interior's done, including, I don't know if they can tell very well, but the fuel pump access plate, which is built in on this kit. So really, really nice. And we have people actually ordering this cargo area for their LJs just because they like the way it looks. So by having these flat plates on top, it makes that fender well a lot more usable. You know, the factory ones are all sloped and you really can't stack anything on it, a bag or anything. So this is pretty nice. And then we've already got the cage done for this. It's already powder coated and everything. So we're getting ready to put that in after it comes back from the paint shop. So of course this will get our new matrix tail lights and a lot of our other little goodies. I don't know if you guys heard me before, but this comes with its own rear bumper. That's part of it. All part of that frame kit, and really nice. On this one, I should go back one slide and show you. So this Jeep had a 1.25" body lift on it. We built this kit so that you can remove the body lift in the rear section and lift this up, which moves the tank and everything up. So the bumper, the tank, everything's moved up just from here back. Really cool feature. Way back in the day when I built the Growler, that's actually how I built the Growler, so that the rear did not have a body lift, just giving you a better departure angle, and all of that is included in this kit. So you can do it either way, with the body lift or without the body lift, but definitely a cool feature to mention. You thinking something?
Thinking, and if you want to know how it performed, head over to GenRight Cameron's Instagram page.
Yeah.
Because it was beyond impressive in Moab.
Yeah, for sure. Everything he pointed at, the thing went right up.
It really annoyed me.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, just incredible. So, and he did it in his garage, he said in 4 days, right?
Yeah.
With no instructions. We didn't even give him instructions because he wanted it so bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's not bad. All right, let's see. I think that's all we had on that. Okay, so this is probably what most people are watching for. Oh, yeah.
One kind of off-topic question.
Sure.
Zach Uptill, if you were to do blank corners, what's the proper way to mark the cut when doing a stretch, setting bumps, and clearing?
Zach, this guy reads my mind. You're like 2 slides ahead of, but I'm going to talk about this. Awesome. Yes, I'm going to answer that question.
And Alex Israel wants to know if it's not on YouTube yet.
What's not on YouTube?
I guess the live. So we usually post the lives on YouTube at a later date.
Yes. It turned out that the software we use to produce this episode doesn't really do well to both platforms. So we just picked Facebook and then we post it back over on YouTube. Okay. So as all of you know, I am putting bigger tires and wheels on my little 4-shock YJ. So I just got, in fact, I know Alex is going to swing this over. All right. So this is what was on there. 31? No. Yeah. Oh, 33, 35. Okay, so I think this was 31 or something in there, 30, whatever. This actually is not a bad size. And of course, everybody always wants to go to a 35, but you can see this is a 1250, this is a 1050. So I kind of like this 1050 profile. It'll be better for fuel economy and just overall performance of the vehicle. But if I can get these to fit, I'm going to do it. So one of the things, this more narrow profile will allow me to keep the factory aluminum Jeep wheels. When I go to this profile, I picked up some wheels from Raceline. Well, actually, it's kind of wedged in the box here. But they call it a bead look. It's not really a bead lock. But yeah, so I got a cool little wheel, 5 on 4.5 bolt pattern. And we've got these on the website, I think, too. So nice wheel, just mounts right up easy. And then that has the right back spacing for me to be able to run the 35-inch tire. So as you all know, I'm always talking about that back spacing. It's not going to be ideal because it really pushes the wheel out further, where if I stay with the 33, that's going to keep it a little bit more preferable. So, Jeff's got questions.
Bow tie question.
Bow tie question,
Bow
okay.
tie single triangulated.
Bow tie is single. And, my preference is double. So here's what I can tell you. When you go with this long of a wheelbase, actually, let me back up. If you're doing a stretch TJ, the single triangulated tends to be the preferred method. When you go double triangulated, it also reinforces the skid plate because it runs all the way across. So your belly skid is reinforced. The double triangulated also is ideal for articulation. So the single tends to be a little better on the street, except when you stretch the wheelbase. When you get to this long, go to double, like hands down. Now, would I go through the trouble to cut the brackets off? No. Like once they're welded on, like you're done. But if you haven't made that choice yet, go to double all day long for this length wheelbase. Jeff's looking at me like, oh, okay. Thanks, Tony. Poor Jeff. He just needs to throw his away and start over.
Banshee always taking heat on this program.
From day one.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Anyways, so hopefully we answered that question. Is there any more on that topic?
Later.
But double triangulated, man, that's where it's at. I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys, but Peter got Jordan's old 4500 race car. And really the only difference between those two is his old race car's double triangulated and his Maximus LJ is not. And he could not believe the difference on how you don't get hung up on anything, because not only is the bracket not there, neither is the arm. So the next thing that catches is the tire, and he was able to just drive up everything. So big difference, big difference. All right. I know Jamie's listening to this right now, and he's like, Dad, why didn't you tell me? What? Jeff's writing notes to Jamie. Oh, man. Okay. So here's, before you get your cutoff wheel or your Sawzall out, this is what I want you to think about, right? You could just start cutting on your factory fender, right? Go to town. Because what everybody forgets is your factory fender has the sheet metal that bends down and then the flare bolts to it, and the flare is, 2-3 inches thick. So I'm not talking about the width, I'm talking about the thickness down toward the tire. So this is where when you put on a tube fender, then this whole thing moves up and you automatically get more clearance up and back. So that's what this kind of represents. The green would be the outline of a tube fender, and this other, darker part would be a factory flare. So yeah, could you, hack your fender up? You sure could. Back here is a little more difficult because the inner fender, is right there, where on the tube fender we move that inner fender back. And this is, all we're doing is talking about a standard inner fender. A high fender gets even better. So that's my next slide. So down here on the bottom, this is the difference. So here's a standard tube fender, right? And that looks great, opens it up nice. Look at on a high fender, it goes 3 inches more up and 3 inches more back. So if you notice, this wedge back here is real tight versus the other one. And that makes a huge difference in that tire opening, so that you can run a bigger tire. If you've got a lot of offset on your wheels, as it turns, it's not going to rub anymore. So, it really helps on everything. The upper picture just shows the difference between no flare, 4-inch, and 6-inch. We get a lot of questions about that too for tire coverage. So, more questions? We're doing okay.
We're doing all right.
Amazing. Okay. So obviously we sell matching rear flares as well. And now we're going to get to Zach's question about doing a corner blank. So hopefully they can see this pretty good. So a corner blank from GenRight is going to have all of the mounting holes, and of course we use stainless steel hardware, and that's it, okay? There's no taillight hole, there's no gas door hole, there's no hinges, you know, rear door hinge holes. This, by getting a blank, it gives you the most options. So if you're doing something cool and trick on your Jeep, that's what you want is a blank.
They do come with the spacers though for the hinges, so you don't have to cut them out.
Correct, yeah. So what Jeff's talking about is all you would have to do is drill the 2 holes in the back to mount the hinge on top of the corner guard, and then there's a spacer that's the thickness of the corner guard to put it back on the door. So assuming you don't do our door armor or something like that, right? So lots of options, and you know, this is, unless you know, are jack of all trades, you probably need to talk to one of my guys and get a little advice before you go on this. We do offer this in steel and aluminum, and we offer these for CJ, YJ, TJ, LJ, CJ8, the Scrambler, and then I feel like I'm missing something. I think we even did them for CJ5. Like we got a lot of these around in steel and aluminum. So obviously we recommend aluminum. One of the nice things about doing a corner guard in aluminum is this is where you're going to save the most weight. You know, that's a big piece of metal, and here's the logic behind this. The logic is, say for even you lean up against a tree or a rock, you're distributing the load over such a wide area that it can handle that without making it dent, okay? So we do also offer corner guard backing plates, so it's basically a piece of angle iron that runs all the way along there, and it really reinforces that top edge. So there's lots of options for you to do this and beef up your Jeep, but not add a lot of weight. You know, you guys hear me saying that all the time. You want to do that, but not add the weight. So let's get to Zach's thing here. Come on, slides. Work with me. There we go. Okay. So whether you choose steel or aluminum, once you mark the corner guard, and remember I told you you could put the wheel well wherever you want. You can use a jigsaw that you can see I have on the table there and simply cut around this and knock out you know, what will be your wheel opening. Okay. So you can see here, you know, that the wheel well has been shifted, and then this sheet metal has got to be taken out of the body. This is super common. We do this every day around here. So, and then so here I want to show you on this one. You can see that the opening did not come to this corner on the body. But on this one, we moved it back even further, and it's starting to wrap around the corner. So you can do some pretty cool stuff to maximize your wheelbase. And you can see by doing this, that wheel opening is now at the rear cross member. So you literally can drop straight off something without hitting the back. Yeah.
I think his main question is, how do you mark?
Oh, I'm still getting there.
Okay.
I'm still getting there.
Seems like that comes before the cut, though.
So here's a side view of what that looks like. So you can see that that wheel opening drops off, you know, right there at the back. And just a couple more examples. This guy put his gas filler back in the side. Now you have options, right? You don't want it, whatever. You want to move it back a little more, that's fine. You can do whatever you want. Again, this is probably a steel one. And there's with a flare. All right. Okay, this is how you do it. So I took a piece of angle iron. In fact, I got it right here. What am I'm looking at this one or that one? Okay. So very simple. Drill the hole. In my case, I slotted it, and this slips over the lug nut on your axle. You take a Sharpie, you tape it to the end, right? You pop the cap off, and this literally just rotates around, and you have exactly where your wheel is. Now, let's not be dumb. This needs to be at full compression, right? Obviously, if it's hanging down, that's not going to work. So we did it as shown here in the picture. Full bump. You can see the marker on the end, and we just rotate it around, and it's exactly where you need to cut the wheel well. And what I did was I simply measured with a tape measure, right, from the center of the hub out and went, okay, you know, I got a 40-inch tire. So, well, here's what I would advise you to do. Don't make the stick 20 inches. It needs to be more. It needs to be like 20 and a half, 21. You'll be amazed that between the flex in the frame and the body mounts and everything, you're going to get more than your 40-inch. So if you cut it at 40, you're still going to rub. So try and measure once, or measure correctly and cut once, okay? So super easy to do, and you would not believe how many people I have told that you got to do this, and it's super easy. Again, got to be a compression, okay? Now, if you have the ability to articulate the axle, you know, that'll help you get even a little more accurate, but this is going to get your wheel well centered right over your axle. Now, a lot of people call me and they go, well, can't I just, you know, wing it? I don't have my axle yet. Like, no. You have to be, like, your Jeep better be this built. Gas tank in, axle slid back so it's not intersecting with the gas tank, shocks on, bumps in, everything's set, and then you can mark it and make the cut, okay? Hopefully that answered Zach's question.
Sure.
And here you can see, you just slide this over, put your lug nut on, and that's how it's held on to.
So you rotating the axle shaft at
I
all?
am, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I feel like that's a key part.
It is, yeah. Yeah, well, obviously, you know, you've got to pivot it right from that back and forth to get the right. But look, now the corner guards or the rocker guards are perfect. Like, it helps you, like, get it all done in one swoop.
But you don't want to just tilt it off that one lug nut while it's up in
No,
one position.
no, you have to rotate it. Yes,
Okay.
yeah. So once I had the lug nut on, I was able to just rotate the hub, and then
Gotcha.
that gave us our. That would have been great if I could have done a video, but we don't have that ability to do that here for this show.
Time for upgrades.
It's only stills. But you got me to talk about it. So, okay, and hopefully that answers all the questions.
Yes.
Guys, this is the best way to do it. Now you have all the choices. Do I want a gas filler here? Yes or no? Do I want the gas filler on the back? What taillights do I want? Do I want hinge holes? Like, you know, this is a blank canvas, man. You can do whatever you want, and I highly recommend. Is it a little more work? Come on, man. Anything good takes a little effort, right? So everybody always wants to customize their Jeep. Here's a great way for you to customize. Nobody else will do it the same as you will. So, okay. Again, how I mounted it, and then I'm not sure what's next here. Oh, just, you know, here I'm showing, you know, don't forget that from that lug nut down to the center of the axle, you got to compensate in the length of your angle iron, you know, okay. And I used angle iron. You could use a flat piece of metal, but I used angle iron because then it's less flexy. So, but I'm just trying to give people the idea here. I mean, bottom line is you could use a piece of wood and pound it on there if you had to. So, Jeff's laughing. Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's how we did it. I did it.
Probably. Okay. So the next thing is, when we're talking about tires and wheels and, you know, going bigger, is I know our guy Andrew, what he did was he wanted to buy his bead locks and go up to a 37-inch tire because he'd done his high fenders. You know, he made the clearance to run a bigger tire. But he didn't want to buy, you know, 37-15s. He wanted to go to 17s. And then when he goes to 17s, he didn't want to repurchase the wheels when he went to the bigger axles. So what he did was use wheel spacers. So the inside bolt pattern was 5 on 4.5, and then he got 5 on 5.5 on the outside, and then he was able to run the bigger wheel. Now the good news is the bigger wheel with our bigger axles is a deeper backspace. So literally the difference here was unseen because the wheel had that built into it, so it didn't actually offset anything. Normally, when you put these on, it's going to stick everything out even further. But when you're using it in this manner, it's a great use for and logic behind getting a wheel spacer. Now, do they still need to be tightened and all that stuff? Yes, you got to check them.
Back to the double triangulation, if you don't mind.
Okay, sure.
All right, so on the double triangulation is a 52 inch long, link too long. The Tiger TJ is already at a 102 wheelbase.
I know the ones that we just made for Bowtie were like 48. Want to go measure? Alex is going to run over there and measure.
Stand by, Keith.
Yeah, stand by. But no, 52 is long. The good news is double triangulation, they're moved way in, so you're not going to smack them. Normally what you're worried about is the longer something gets, the easier it is to hit in the middle and bend it.
Yeah.
Right? When it's short, you can't bend this, but you get it like this and it's super easy to bend. So those are some of the downsides to having something super long. I'll give you another tip. If you end up making them out of steel, you can fill it with a solid piece of 6061 aluminum and they won't bend anymore. So that's a race car trick. So
That's what I need.
that'll be the last time they bend. So, all right. We do, by the way, that's how, we've made some tie rods around here too, is you put either a hard piece of steel inside of it or a piece of like 6061 or 7075 aluminum. What's that? What's a tie rod? You get the little ones.
Yeah, see, they're not bending.
Right, they're short.
Off-topic question. On a TJ, is there an issue deleting factory ABS stuff when going high fenders? I unplugged all the ABS when I blew the Dana 35 the first time, but the stuff is still in the engine bay.
Okay. So what was the length on the arms?
So the uppers were 48, the lowers are 42.
Oh, okay. So that's because the rear is tilted, right? So the uppers get longer. So yeah, I mean, there you go. And 52 is just a little longer than that. So I think you'd be okay. Yeah. I don't know that I'd go much past that though. I don't want to see like 60-inch links, not even on a dragster. Okay. All right. So we're back to what?
Slight topic shift. On a TJ, is there an issue deleting factory ABS stuff when going to high fenders?
Well, okay. So it's all about your safety, right? Like you can take everything off as far as I'm concerned. That's what I did. But, I'm not letting my teenage daughter drive my Jeep either, it depends. Those are the considerations you make, So I'll give you an example. Our Jeeps around here, if you start them in gear, that damn thing's going to take off, right? So we've removed all the safeties. You can do that too, but it's on you. So am I going to tell you to do that? I don't advise it. I don't know what kind of driving you do or where you're driving or whatever. Some people drive their vehicle on the street a lot. They need anti-lock, but doesn't really apply to what I'm doing. So.
Do we make aluminum corner guards for the JKU?
No. So JKU is a little bit different animal, right? If we go back to our corner guards are made of one piece of aluminum, right? So, and the bend we put in is done in what's called a single hit die. So there's a male and female that come together and put that shape in it. On a JK, the way it's built, there has to be a seam, or the bend is too tight. Oh, he's breaking one out. Okay. So I don't know what they can see. Can they see this? Yeah. Okay. So this corner, in order to do this, with multiple bends and everything, there has to be some welding. And when we built these out of aluminum, they cracked. So JK body's a little thinner. There's much more movement. Remember, the newer these vehicles get, the better they ride, the more comfortable they are. They're thinning stuff out. There's a lot of things going on. By the way, this is not that heavy. So, even though it's steel, it's only 1/8-inch steel, not 3/16, and it's not that big of a deal. So these are going to be fine. We've recessed in the corner guards, or the tail lights. There's a lot of cool things that we've done that make the JK corner what it is. I'll turn it a little bit so everybody can see, and yeah, just kind of cool. More questions?
On 06 LJ, if you were doing the stretch kit, where would you relocate the evap?
The evap. Okay, so let's go way back. Well, we could use this for an example. Okay, can they see on this one? Okay, muffler is right here on this side. You got to go to the opposite side of the muffler, and you can move the evap from the corner right here within a 3-foot circle of the gas tank. Okay, so as long as you move it to the opposite side of the muffler right here, that's within 3 feet, and you don't downsize any of the lines, you will not get a check engine light. Okay, so if you have to patch lines together because you're gonna have to cut and splice some stuff that made it go up here, make sure you use the next size hose up, and you can mount it right there, and it'll clear everything. So it's gonna, when I say right there, it's gonna be, just before the axle, but on the driver's side, and it'll work perfect. Okay, you're gonna have to make your own bracket or whatever, but come on, man, if you're this far in, can you make a bracket? I think so.
Can I stretch the TJ roll cage when I do the LJ conversion?
Great question. The answer is yes, because, and we happen to be looking at an LJ here, the front from the B pillar forward is exactly the same. So, it's one of those things where you'd have to call in, that's not our website, and order the back tubes. What a lot of people have done, like if you already have our cage, a lot of people are just pulling it, selling it, and then buying an LJ cage. Your cage is worth money to somebody that doesn't want to take the time to build a cage. So, we've offered a lot more new options on our cages now. And, you could go with an aluminum roof, you could go with a harness bar, an X bar. There's a lot of other things, maybe you want to change the color, whatever, that you could do if you built yourself a new cage. So, just something to think about. By the way, on each one of these TJ to LJs that we've built here, we just put a new cage in. And the old cage sold like that. So.
Yeah, and selling a welded cage is not hard.
Not hard. Especially if it's powder coated and everything.
Yeah,
like,
ready
really?
to rip.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
So. What else we got?
Off-topic
Sure.
question?
Why not?
06 LJ Rubicon. Is it worth the time and money to upgrade to LJ Rubicon axles for the extra width? Planning to stay on 37s. Got a good deal on LJ axles. Or JL axles.
JL axles. Okay. So the JL Rubicon axles are wider, certainly a lot compared to LJ, right? Isn't that what he said he's putting them in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So LJ was 63. You're going to be going all the way up to 68, so which is near our 70 that we do now. So he's definitely going in the right direction.
Yep.
So, and axle shafts are a lot like, control arms or tie rods or whatever we were just talking about. The longer that axle gets, the more it'll flex before it tink. You get a short little stub axle. That's why they always break, because there's nothing in between to give. So.
Yep.
What else we got?
Ready?
Yep.
92 YJ. I'd like to stretch the front out. If I'm using the stock steering box, will I have to relocate the box? I think I remember if using a twisted pitman arm, I can gain a few inches.
You can gain 4 inches. So yes, that's a great way to do it. In fact, Alex just did this, right? You upgraded your steering, right? Went to Heims, went high steer.
Yep.
Did we end up posting any pictures on that yet? But
They're on the website.
yeah, we got a lot of since I started building the YJ. It seems to be like catching on around here. I don't know. Actually, it's Arnold's fault because he had one first. Arnold just entered the room here. So.
Nothing to do with the YJ Tracer build.
Oh yeah, that too. Jamie,
Known as Growler.
grown-ups.
You live over there?
Yeah. So, yeah, but and that's what Jeff's mentioning is when I figured it out. I moved the axle forward. I did not want to touch the steering box.
Yeah.
Like relocating the steering box is a nightmare.
They're not on the website yet, but I'll get them uploaded tomorrow morning.
Okay, perfect. So He's done a bunch of work, and it does allow you to move that forward. Because what it does is it takes the tie rod from behind the pitman arm, you know, swinging on here, and it moves it to under, and the little arc in the pitman arm allows the tie rod to come up inside of it. So I don't know what our pictures look like on the website. Like I used to have like really good pictures showing, you know, how it would travel up inside there. But yeah, trust me, it works. We've sold a zillion of them. So yeah, good question.
I'm very happy.
Yeah, when you put actual quality parts in, not some
Crazy what that does.
Chinese tie rod end that was, you know, bought for $12, and that means somebody made it for $1.
We are all caught up on questions.
Wow. Okay, so we're only 35 minutes in, everybody. So fire away on these questions. I know you guys are thinking more. Don't be shy, and be happy to answer more of these. Is this thing in the way?
I think they just want you to Sawzall something.
Sawzall. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
There are a few comments
Well,
that your Sawzall matches.
trust me, if you see me with a Sawzall, like, look out. It's fun. And by the way, not only do I like the yellow hat, I like yellow tools too. So
That's what somebody else said.
yeah, did they?
Yeah. They said
And
your hat-
nobody's commented on my hidden little thing I have back here yet. I keep waiting for that, so they need to look around a little more. Okay, so next thing we're going to talk about is a buddy of mine, Steve Sasaki, owns a company called Power Tank. So if you don't have a compressor on your Jeep or don't want to get one or, you know, whatever, your next solution is to get a power tank. And we've got a couple here. They come in different sizes. And Alex is going to swing around here. So this is the bigger one. And this one's got the regulator and everything on it. These come in several different sizes. I happen to think this is a pretty good size, but I also bought a little smaller one. These will fill tires, run power tools. It is not compressed air, it is compressed CO2, which does get cold as it is expelled. That's part of the process, similar to like propane or something like that. And the regulator, you can dial it in for what you want. It tells you how much you still have in the tank. Their little bag carries the hose and some other things on here, also protects it and keeps it out of the sun. So that's kind of nice. This tank just has all these accessories mounted on it, but otherwise the tank itself looks like that. They do have a mounting bracket, which you can see on the screen here, that allows you to mount it to a Fender well or somewhere in the Jeep. And the other thing is I've seen people mount them on roll cages. Now, all that said, you got to remember this thing's got like 3,200 PSI in it. So it's a rocket. So if you knock the top off, your Jeep might accelerate.
Yeah, I'm not mounting it to my cage.
No. You gotta put this in a spot where it cannot get banged.
Yep.
So I just wanted to mention that. But otherwise, great. Fills a lot of tires.
Another question.
Yeah.
Just received standard corners for my TJ last week. Quality phenomenal, service extraordinary, very happy. Is there any need to seal the edges to prevent dirt, water entering behind the armor? If so, silicone or body seam sealer?
Excellent question. I was worried about this too. Many years ago. If you're going to do that, you only do the top edge. Okay? So, and the reason I say that is because if anything gets in it, you want it to be able to drain. So if you seal it all the way around, if you ever take these off, you're going to find rust pockets in there. You got to be able to let that drain. So the other thing that I've done in the past too, let me go back a couple more pictures, I think. Can't quite see it on that one. Is the top edge on the rocker tends to get a lot of sand and other stuff in it. So I would take a little clear or black silicone and I'd run just a small bead along that edge and keep stuff from getting in there. So, you know, It's possible, you don't have to. It's a great question. But if you're worried about it, then you can only do this edge. Don't do everything.
We actually sell that little withering strip that'll.
We
go
do.
between.
Yeah, the welting
Yeah,
is what it's
welting.
called. So you can search for that on our website and get some welting. Yep.
Another question.
Sure.
How low air pressure would you run without bead locks?
15 safe. It depends on the tire and the wheel, right? A steel wheel does not have the same biting edges inside of it that an aluminum wheel does. When they machine it, they leave a little more of a bite in there. And depending on the brand of the tire, some tires are not made. Like a newer, Goodyear, BFG, Mickey Thompson, those tires are manufactured to a very high tolerance, and they're going to fit the rim really good. So you could probably go down to 12 on those. And, obviously where the tire takes a beating is, when you're coming downhill and you're turning and it's got all the weight on it, it's trying to roll it back under. So, if you're just going down a flat fire road and you're just looking for a little better ride, or you're out on the sand and not, getting too crazy, you can definitely air it down and be pretty cool, Now, bring a power tank along and drop that baby to 10 and let it rip. So, only one way to find
I
out.
see a T-shirt coming in our future, Tony, with the little word cap says "Let it rip."
Let it rip. Oh man.
All right.
Don't encourage me.
Building my 2001 TJ, and I'm going to install the GenRight roll cage next. What mod should I do next? Also have purchased a steering brace, skid plate, ultimately working towards the LJ stretch within 2 years. Also, the Jeep currently has a cheap 4-inch lift, sits on 35-inch tires.
Okay, well, you're headed down the right road. I like that. Bigger tires, once you start getting me on the 35s, you got to make a choice. You could upgrade to chromoly axle shafts or, RCVs or something nice, but you're starting to pour some money into it. So if you really, like you said, want to go to the stretch and everything, then you should really be saving your money for big axles and going to 40s or bigger. So just think about that. Try not to, just enjoy what you have and then save your money and get to those bigger steps, kind of like we're looking at here. I ended up building my Jeep, that Jeep 5 times before I got it right. So I hate to see anybody else do that. It's expensive. So, yeah. But good stuff. What else you got?
We are caught up.
Again, man. That only killed another 8 minutes.
We need more questions.
Keep those questions coming for sure. Let me see what else I had here.
Our take was the last slide, other than update on where we're going to be next.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, talked about spacers, talked about power. Okay. So, if you haven't been over to our website, please, when the show's done, venture over there on the internet. It's real easy, GenRight.com. And a couple of things I want to show you. One is I keep telling you to call in. Phone number's right there, right at the very top. And our search box, this is what I call a smart search. And you can type part of the part number, part of the description, anything you want, and just hit return, and it'll bring you up everything it finds related to that. So it's a very helpful website. Obviously, you can shop by vehicle, shop by the product if you know you want a fender or a bumper or whatever. Accessories, we got lots of stuff in accessories, everything from t-shirts to toe straps and tool bags. And then of course our galleries where you can see all these Jeeps and more, a lot of customer builds, all in the galleries. Breaks it out so you can see colors, tire sizes. Some of them list out the parts, right down to the finest detail. And then of course under company, the first thing would be my Tech Talk page. And in there is a bunch of checklists that you can download that'll help you keep track of your vehicle. Maintenance, shock settings, packing lists for trips, door caddies. We got all kinds of stuff that you can download from there and kind of keep up on Tech Talks. I know that Alex is going to be posting some pictures of a bunch of the Tech Talk viewers that we met out at Jeep Beach. So he's going to put those on that Tech Talk page. So we've got a lot more stuff coming. And then also, which is where I'm headed right now, under company, which is down about like this level, would be our next runs and events. So the next things we've got going over Memorial Day, High Desert Roundup. If you haven't been to it, it's not far from here in Barstow, California, of course. And you know, last time I checked, there's 7 million people in an hour's drive from Barstow. So it's a great event, and you should come out. There's trails of all levels that you can sign up for. There's Jeep games. GenRight has music, campfire, cornhole. We got all kinds of stuff that we do. So you're welcome to hang out with us, camp with us. I mean, we're a pretty fun bunch. So that's High Desert Roundup, or what we call HDR. The next one immediately following that is Rock Junction over in Grand Junction, Colorado. And Jeff and Jamie and Cameron and Alan are all going to that one. So, and more. That one's cool because it's got a rock course right there where all the vendor and food and sign up and everything is that you can play on. And it's usually pretty tough. I mean, even if you're on 40s, you can manage to get stuck in there.
Mr. Bates does not make it easy on us.
So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, you know, trail runs are in all directions from there. So there's lots of good stuff. Billings being one of the better ones, or 21 Road. Mm-hmm. So if you're interested, that's a pretty good event to check out. That's a fundraiser for that club. They open a lot of trails and do a lot of good work, cleaning stuff and otherwise maintaining everything for that Grand Junction Club, which is called Grand Mesa. Then I'll be out at Bantam with our customer Peter Doolin and his Jeep. I'm flying in. We'll be showing that off. I'll be in the Mickey Thompson booth. So if you want to come to Bantam in Pennsylvania, that's a pretty cool event. So I'm trying to get back to the East Coast again. And then after that was Smoky Mountain. I'll be there. That's Tennessee, again with Peter and his Jeep Maximus. So people can check that out. You know, it's one of our Tracer built Jeeps on 40s, if you're not familiar with that. And he participated in our, you know, King of the Hammers real, you know, race experience. So that's cool. So you can talk to him. He's going to have a screen set up in the back showing like a highlight reel of a bunch of things he's done in his Jeep. And you'll be able to talk to him or talk to me. Again, also with Mickey Thompson while we're there at Smoky Mountain. So those are the next few. The only one, there's two more that I know of for sure, will be Trail Hero. And then, of course, GenRight does what we call our turkey run out at the Hammers. And that's a 10-day. We're out there for 10 days. You can join us for any part of that and come out and wheel with us. It's the Hammers. So either be prepared to wheel and have fun, or you can just stay in camp and have fun. There's plenty going on. So Kelly usually brings his blower and log stuff, and we make big fire. And you know, we last time we cooked 9 turkeys, so you know we're always out there having fun. So all right, that's all I have on that. Have you got more questions?
We got more questions.
Okay, bring them. Yeah, I still got a couple things, but we got time.
User first name Overland, last name Fasho.
Nice.
Would like to know, is it safe to run bead-locked 40s on Dana 44 axles? I see it a lot. I see a lot of people doing it. Oh boy.
Okay. Can it physically be done? Yes. Should it be? No. Those people are on borrowed time. And there's a couple of things. And I get this question a lot. And I'm going to tell you this. If you're just overlanding and kind of rolling along and you're going for a look, it'll do it. The axle will do it, but you got to remember the bearings are half the size, the shafts are half the size, right? Like everything is tiny. Like literally, if you understood what was back there, you'd be horrified on how small it is. Sometimes we have that stuff out here, but
we've showed it before.
We have showed it, and I've covered it in my terminology and some of my other tech talks, but guys, it's tiny. So, physically, if you're going to car shows and real light stuff, you could do it, but it's going to wear everything faster. If you spin that tire and it hooks up, it's broken. If you need to tow your buddy out, it's broken. Okay, like you are literally on borrowed time. So if you like taking chances and gambling, like I say, let it rip. Right? You're
Let it rip.
you're gonna be into a forced upgrade, which I'm all about that. That's how we stay in business here. Jeff's laughing. So yeah, the bummer is that unless you do the wheel spacer trick, you're gonna be buying a 5 on 4.5 or 5 on 5 wheel. That when you do get real axles is gonna be the wrong wheel, so you're buying it again. So. I don't know. Just call in. Number's right there. Talk to somebody. They're going to echo what I just said, right?
Well, unless they're trying to sell you their used 5 on 4.5 wheels.
Right.
Like, no, lasts it forever.
Yeah.
Beadlock question.
Sure.
How many rounds should it take to torque the beadlock ring bolts? It's taking me at least 4 and as many as 6.
Yeah.
About right?
That's about right.
As many as it takes?
As many as it takes till every bolt torques to 15 pounds.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, don't get frustrated with that. It's actually really good because what you're doing is you're pushing the tire down into the seat evenly. If you just start cranking, what's going to happen is it's going to squish the rubber around and you're going to end up with a tire that's not going to roll good. Mm-hmm. So, and if you don't believe me, give it a try and it'll bite you. Yep. So sometimes the bolts break off. Most of the time the rubber's not right and that tire is going to wobble back.
Yeah, and it's just going to slowly leak air.
Yeah. So yeah, doing that round and round. And if, when I first do it, I do a crisscross. I know it's hard to keep track of because there's a lot of bolts, but once you start getting, where that thing's pretty well seated, you can just rip around.
You're starting like the 4th time, then rip around.
Yeah. So.
And I Sharpie the star.
And when I say rip around, even though you pull the wrench to 15 pounds, by the time you get back, it won't even be close.
Not 15.
So, yeah.
It'll be hand tight.
Yeah.
Man, I hate beadlocks.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you've never done them before, make sure you don't forget to put the valve stem in or you'll really be pissed at yourself.
I've done that one time.
Oh,
gosh.
You don't make that mistake again.
Yeah. Valve stems and anti-seize.
Yeah, when you do those bolts, grease or anti-seize for sure. Yeah, because they will lock in there and you'll never get them out. So you don't realize how much crap is in the river crossings and even the dirt and everything that we go through, and then the water hits that and the alkali just starts a reaction and that bolt's in there forever. So yep.
Summer would like to know what could cause the bolts to constantly snap even after all torqued correctly and seated correctly, etc.
Summer, great question. Inferior quality bolt. Jamie and I have had those where we're ripping down the highway and they're just going bing, bing. Not good.
Well, it could be bad bolts, or do you think it could be they need one of those spacers?
Yes. So that was where I was going. Is when you tighten down the tire, right, the beadlock ring, the ring tends to roll to the inside. Well, what that's doing is, you got a hole that's drilled in the ring, the bolt's going straight through. Well, as that starts to, it's kinking on the bolt, right, which eventually stresses the bolt and then the bolt breaks as the tire rolls. So some tires have a thicker bead, which requires, like Raceline makes a little spacer you put in there.
Have you had to use any on yours with the Baja Boss?
I haven't had to use any on Baja Boss.
Neither.
So there's depending on the manufacturer, one of the wheels I used to love was my old Walker Evans. So what they did was the beadlock ring, the seat that was machined into it was canted. So what they did was they accounted for the twist, and then that way the bolt went straight through. So by the time it got tightened to the right, everything was straight. So, but you know, Walker was a racer, so he was like, hey,
Great question.
yeah.
From VB Tom. Where can I get the 12-point beadlock bolts?
Oh, yep, from us. Yeah, we've got them. They're ARP brand, which is like way better than a grade 8. It's like a grade 15. They're on our website. You can also just go here and type 12 point and they'll pop right up, or ARP. And yeah, they're the right length, 5/16, 18. And just make sure you get the right number of them and you'll be in good shape. They're not cheap, I'll warn you. But when you go to take them out or tighten them, they're a bit more durable than the regular grade 8 bolt. So.
Ready for another one?
Sure.
Do y'all offer a rear and front truss for a UD60, or are y'all planning on making one?
So we currently, if we're talking about a rear, I think he said front and
You
rear.
said front and rear.
Yeah, we've got rear 14 bolt, rear 60, rear 44s. We've got trusses for those. On the front, I think we only do a 44 truss to mount an upper link. It's not, to truss it. So no, we're probably not the right company for that. That might be an R-Tech or somebody like that. Yeah. You got to be careful when you do a lot of welding on an axle. It's not straight anymore. So it's not easy to see. And you'll see people that have trussed them all up and everything, but I'm telling you, they've screwed that thing up. So whatever. What do I know? Won't find it on mine. That's all I can say.
We're caught up.
Really? Wow. Okay, then I'll keep going here. So we talked about upcoming events. If you can't find what you're looking for on our website, I'm pretty sure we have everything listed, but just call in, talk to the guys, especially if you're wanting a piece out of a kit or something. The only way you're going to get that, like we talked about with the roll cage, is to buy the back half. You got to call in. We answer the phone. That's one of my basic business premises, that somebody answers the phone. So at least between regular business hours. So anyways, that's pretty good with that. The last thing I have for everybody is if you've got GenRight products, please go into the product you have, and there's a little button where you can write a review. Just write a 1 or 2 sentence, quick little, love it, looks great, fit well, whatever. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but write whatever you want.
But those are some good ones.
Those
to
are
use.
good ones, great value. I can give you a list of them. That would be very helpful to future customers and to us that you wrote a review. So I'd appreciate that. All right. And I think the last thing would be turn on your notifications. Oh, Jeff's got something.
Steve Bird.
Yeah?
Great question, Steve.
Yep.
When are Tony and Jeff coming to Wheel S'more?
Oh. What's a good time of year to go do that?
Anytime.
What was the last time I was there in like July or
I would
August?
say late
early
summer or fall is the best time.
is the best. Okay. So our September schedule is pretty light. Maybe.
Oh yeah, we got that thing.
Oh, that one thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's other weekends in that month. So we could take a look at that, Jeff.
All right. See you in September, Steve.
Yeah. In here, right on the other side of the camera, is Terramoto with all the cool new stuff I got for it. So I just need to put it back together, and then it will be ready for some real fun action out there. I'd actually love to get back there now that I know it a little better and do some more stuff.
Well, and hopefully we won't get monsooned out.
Monsoon, and I'm not on a 69-day, whirlwind travel, right? So
Oh,
I
yeah,
could
you
go
could-
for it, break it,
You
and
can try
just
Copperhead this
put it
time.
back on the trailer.
One last quick question from Zach Uptill. How far can you cut back on the corner before you really can't use the tire carrier anymore?
That's a great question. I don't know if we had that picture or not. It's pretty far.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I've seen people that have comp cut it and have the tire carrier still on there.
I think you almost have to dub the rear end before that comes into play.
Yeah. I was just wondering if one of these shots had. Okay. So comp cut would be right here to this bolt, straight up and then around. So you've actually got plenty, on there because the tire carriers mount, in this like half that, like,
Yeah.
So you're pretty safe on that.
You have to be running like a wide jet axle to make it too narrow.
Yeah, and even then you got other issues. So yeah, no, you're gonna be fine. So, yep. Yeah, good question though. And I think if you go over to each of the tire carriers, we usually show a bunch of different, like the swing out and swing down mounted on several different vehicles. So there's probably a good picture on there.
This might be more of a call-in with pictures question.
Okay.
But is there a certain position that the Atlas is clocked for a JKU? With the Elite kit, mine hits the skid or the bottom or the body, no in between.
Yeah. You're not going to like this answer, but just get your hammer out. It's got to go up. So make that body. I just use a piece of wood. Sometimes you can just put a 4x4 on a floor jack and just jack it up, man. It'll shove that body and make the clearance you want. You can't let the transfer case rub, and it's certainly you don't want to touch on the skid plate because everything you hit is going to load shock that aluminum case and your transmission and everything else is bolted.
He likes that answer.
You should.
Word for word. I like the answer.
And it's super easy. Like, I know it seems like a big deal. You don't want to get too carried away because if you start getting all rambunctious, your driver's seat's going to like start getting wonky. So just do it enough and it'll be fine.
One more question from Overland for show. If 40s are a no-go on Dana 44s, how big would you go?
Yeah, 37.
Trusted and shaft.
Yeah, even Curry doesn't recommend 37s on a 44. You're on the real ragged edge, and again, part of it depends on how you drive, and I don't know, if you're running a 1050, a 1250, a 1350, a 1650, obviously, if you're gonna go with a bigger tire, you gotta like be mellow with that thing, because you're definitely pushing your luck. I know back in the day when I first went to 37s, man, it was like first trip it broke. So and again, are you manual transmission, automatic? Automatic's going to be a little more forgiving. If you're in the mud and stuff, even sand, where you're crossing on a hill climb, you go from slippery to like hook up. That it's just going to break.
Yeah.
So
Gotta drive careful like me and James.
you got to drive real careful. Yeah, like you're going to church on Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of questions, ETA on Mickey 42-inch stickers.
Yeah, so I just talked to them. They were back. The actual engineer was back at Jeep Beach, and I had a nice conversation with him. His feeling is the last quarter of this year. So I think what it is they're trying to, during the holidays, there's some closures, and they're trying to get the new equipment up and running. And then that's when they're going to pump out those tires. So right now that's the latest.
Gives everybody plenty of time to find a nice Sawzall they like.
Yeah, and I know that he said we would have some before that, maybe for SEMA. So yeah, I mean they always do like a pre-production run, So it's coming. It's close, I mean, October is going to be here before we know it. So.
So is September.
So is September. Back and some more.
We're caught up on questions.
Awesome, because now we're overtime. So thanks everybody for joining us. Appreciate you watching. Hopefully you find this very interesting and informative. I love all the questions, and of course I love talking about Jeeps. For you guys on 44s, I wish I could give you better news on how they'll hold up, but just spend the extra money. Oh,
Something funny. Zach Guptill says, I'm just waiting on 42s to come out so I can actually find used 40s.
There you go. There you go. I think we've got a couple sets of used 40s around here. So call in and talk to Jeff. He could probably help you out. So
He's not quite ready for 40s.
okay. So okay, cool. Thanks everybody. Make sure you turn on those notifications, and we will see you next Wednesday.
Cool.